like lieutenant governor candidates are starting to think a special version of hell is listening to too many candidates speak for too long, right? But I think there are some things that can keep this interesting. Let's remind ourselves the vast majority of people who vote in this governor's race, even in the Democratic primary, will never have had a chance to meet the gubernatorial candidates, lieutenant governor candidates, the congressional candidates. So in a way, you're a search committee. And I think really getting a sense of what makes folks tick is a real service to your colleagues, especially in the labor movement. I thought what I would do is just touch on sort of three core issues for me: priorities, abilities, and relationships. Because I think at the end of the day, if I'm sitting in your seat, that's what really matters to me. Let's be candid here. We got very good people competing with each other. That's what it is, a competition. These are not our enemies. These are people we compete with, and the competition can make us better. I have real friends in this race. In Congress, they used to say, my friend from the other side of the aisle, and that meant they wanted you to spontaneously combust, right? But the fact is, they're really great, decent people running in these races. It feels like about 8,000 people are running in these races. But I think as the smoke clears and you look at the most viable, I hope you will, first of all, think of our highest priorities. My highest priority is defending and championing working people. That is my highest priority. And we do that by increasing economic security and economic opportunity for all Pennsylvanians, because when you do it for middle-class people and working people, the money gets recirculated in the economy, including, as my friend Katie pointed out, those defined benefit plans that I've worked so hard to defend. Those pension plans, 95% of the whopping $24 grand on average that's paid out to those seniors, some of whom I hope are in this room, is spent right back into our economy. Unlike, say, Mitt Romney's passively earned income that can be exported so easily out of the state. So when we do this, we're helping all Pennsylvanians. I will do everything in my power to invest in job creation and, yes, education, education, education. Tom Corbett made it his first priority to eviscerate education. It will be what we have to die fighting for. Because at the end of the day, investing in education leads to job creation. It leads to employer recruitment. It leads to better communities. We need to have continuous retraining, working with the trade unions. We can do this. These are our highest priorities. And part of what you can do is look not just for language and words and campaign literature, but look at actual behavior. I've been out there fighting with you, shoulder to shoulder, often in the cold, whether it's a lockout half an hour away from here, or hour away from here, or in Harrisburg, fighting the Koch brothers when they're trying to push their right to work agenda in our state. And I was so moved to be able to stand with so many labor leaders and so many labor activists. Also very proud, not just to fight for the minimum wage, but to use the education and the quest for evidence that I always try to engage in to say, you know what? The liars out there who are saying a raise in the minimum wage will destroy some jobs are wrong, and we know it from more than 20 years of studies. And in fact, even their request to make it a gradual glide up is misguided. So after studying the heck out of this, we said we're going to move for a minimum wage that's actually above even what President Obama is fighting for, $10.70. And we're going to fight against the idea of a gradual lift. A gradual lift leaves $5,200 on the table per year for the employer class, who are already pricing what the market will bear, as the business types say. This is just about the distribution of that revenue. We're already fighting for that. These are the kinds of things that you have to be rock solid certain about. You also are hiring, if you hire me, if you hire McCord as your governor, the person who runs towards the defined benefit movement and will defend it with my life, starting by saying, don't badmouth defined benefit plans. because you're bad-mouthing Social Security. It's a defined benefit plan. And if you really want to look at the evidence shows that these defined benefit plans are more efficient, not less efficient, than the 401k plans. And guess what? I know this will shock you, but those 401k plans are often rip-offs that are designed to help the salespeople who come down from New York and Connecticut, now from California. The defined benefit plans are right here. They serve the people who fund them. And we need to hold the employer class accountable for investing in them and not doing the dine and dash schemes that Tom Corbett did. You know that I'll fight for these things because that's what I've been doing. Next, that's priorities. Let's talk about abilities. There are really two core abilities I hope you'll look for. The person who is best built among the most viable in the primary, best built to defeat, and I use this word emotionally, to defeat and evict Tom Corbett. Tom Corbett doesn't just deserve to lose, he deserves to be reproached. His failure to engage with working people, with his failure to engage in the process in a constructive fashion, his putting off for years investments in roads and bridges, his embrace of the ALEC agenda, knowingly looking to suppress legal voters with the voter suppression stuff. It is wrong. He needs to be convicted from that prejudice. So I want you to hire the person you think is best built to really take it to Tom Corbett. Because you got to understand, this guy's first name is Governor. He has an annoyingly full head of hair. He's going to have $30 million bucks. He's going to have the Koch brothers. I may have the Barasecki brothers. He's going to have a lot of money. And you need to bring a fighter who's been somewhat tested in these kinds of arenas. And then, if you're lucky, you hire somebody who's the governor who can get stuff done. Because we can't afford gridlock just because the governor has a D after her or his last name. A governor gridlock is bad news for the labor movement. We need a lot more than a veto pen when it comes to working people. There are some rich people out there, rich liberals, who just need a veto. But working people need to find revenues. And by the way, one of the places we'll find revenue is by innovating. We've done that at Treasury. We generate 62% more with 23% less. So you can look at the McCord Treasury. I'm going to say my name a lot, Bob, so people remember it, right? But they can look and say, this guy's really done this. One of the ways we'll do it is by improving the quality of care of seniors, working, I hope, with SEIU to increase the number of unionized jobs for in-home workers and new technologies, and cutting the cost of senior care by 60% while making it possible for all of us who hope to be senior citizens and to have a long retirement, enjoy living in our home for longer. And we can do that with increasing the supply of unionized jobs. Give that a round of applause, because we need to do that. So you want a governor who's an invest and innovate governor, a governor who can get stuff done, a governor who can get stuff done in a tough bipartisan town. I've done that. And now finally the word relationships. And I'm going to pray on that word, that notion of you being a search committee. There are two relationships I want you to think about. The first is the relationship that I love having with the labor movement. It is not an accident that we have gotten the vast majority of labor union endorsements. 450,000 union members belong to unions that have already endorsed me. 450,000 union members under endorsement. The next highest, less than 30,000. The next highest. So I don't think that's an accident. A lot of people have interviewed us, and it has a lot to do with the fact that I've been tested and that I have an expertise with both the economy and job creation in the business world, as well as an elected CEO position. I've run and won several times, and they think I'm most likely to be able to defeat Tom Corbett and get good work done. But there's something else going on. These labor leaders know what makes me tick. The labor activists have looked at what I went through, and they said, this guy will be loyal to us. And you want to know why? The best answer of all. Because of my mom. Because of what my mom went through. When I was 4 years old, my mom went through a rough divorce. She divorced my dad. My dad was a great divorce father, but I'm kind of glad this bad divorce actually happened. My dad was a smart guy, got tenured at Stanford University at a young age, but like a lot of Scotch-Irish types, he was charismatic, athletic, and you know some of the folks like this, alcoholic. And in 1963, there weren't a lot of AA programs. My mom evicted him. She gets a call from the powerful people on the faculty and says, you have to leave your house. And she says, what are you talking about? I paid the mortgage. And she was already biting her nails with nervousness about money. And they said, well, we own the property below the house, that's faculty house. She said, well, technically we're not divorced yet. It takes 3 years back in the 60s to get a divorce legally in California. And they said, well, we're counting you as divorced. And she said, wait, technically I'm on faculty. She was a teacher's assistant. And he said, okay. He hung up the phone. He called back the next day, and he said, you've been fired. So my mom called the world's least known union, a union she was not a member of, the American Association of University Professors, and they said, you have a claim. And like a lot of you, she fought. She fought and she scratched for 3.5 years till she got her PhD. And she was going to go home. Everybody goes to the sunny states. She was going to go home to New York, right? And by the way, I love this kind of food. My staff always says, they say, what's the treasurer like to eat? They said, he'll take your freest food. Because I was literally, for a couple of years there, I remember being kicked out of neighbors' houses because I ate too much. My mom would get powdered milk. I don't know if you've had powdered milk and not eat meat, and not because she was a vegan or something airy like that. It was about money. So she was going to move back to New York. She gets a call from a friend and says, before you go, you have to check out a place called Drexel Institute of Technology back in the day. We got a good job, and equally important, you're 15 minutes from a great public school district. You have a 10-year-old and 8-year-old little boy by that point in our lives. I had undiagnosed dyslexia in California. I was in the slow reading group. I literally remember being in the 2nd grade thinking, I can't be as dumb as everybody thinks I am, right? I moved to Pennsylvania. They helped me, they lift me up. I'm able to get a ton of financial aid to go on to Harvard, to study history and economics, to work on Capitol Hill, to go to Penn's Wharton School, get an MBA, lead the American dream, not just making a lot of money and working in a lot of different business sectors, a lot of different ones, which is handy if you're going to serve as governor, and doing it as a self-made businessman, although I think public education really made me. Not only doing all of that, but in addition to making money, I was able to watch a lot of people who suffer from a different kind of poverty. They had a lot of cash, but they suffer from a poverty of purpose. And one of the things I love about the union movement is I can come in and work with you and realize you care about other people. You don't just worship at the altar of the dollars that go into your personal pocket. That's how I was raised. So what happened with me is Pennsylvania public education rescued me. It gave me every privilege you could possibly have. I was then able to work as your state treasurer, independently elected, had a tough primary, had a couple of good general elections. I got nicknamed the Corbett Slayer. A lot of people say we know McCord can beat Corbett because he's doing it already, including with the privatization, crony capitalist approach on the lottery. But if we are going to really defend working people, we have to maximize our chances of getting good work done in government, which starts with defeating and evicting Tom Corbett and defending the kids who depend on public education. Let's go get them. Thank you.